Hello and welcome to Straight Talk. Across Oregon, Black-owned businesses are helping drive the economy forward. But for many, the path to growth and opportunity has not been equal. To help change that, the Black Business Association of Oregon rolled out a strategic roadmap designed to turn research and partnerships into real policy action. Joining us to talk about that plan and what comes next are Nate McCoy and Orlando Simpson. Nate McCoy is the interim executive director of the Black Business Association of Oregon, and he's also president and CEO of the National Association of Minority Contractors, or NAMC Oregon, where he's led efforts to expand access to contracting, resources, and economic opportunity for businesses owned by people of color. And Orlando Simpson is the board chair of the Black Business Association of Oregon and CEO of City of Roses Disposal and Recycling, where he's focused on sustainability and expanding economic opportunity. Orlando, Nate, thank you so much for joining us here on Straight Talk today. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, you bet. Well, let's get to the questions. We want to know about the Black Business Association of Oregon. It hasn't been around too long, Orlando, officially formed in 2022, but there was a pretty big buildup to its official formation. Tell us about it.
Yeah, that buildup, first off, thanks for the question. Sure. That buildup started, unfortunately, as a result of something horrific that happened that we all witnessed on our cameras and TVs for a period of time, and that was the unfortunate sacrifice of George Floyd as a result of using a fake $20 bill. I think what it did is it catalyzed a lot of momentum and movement around the social inequities and injustices that exist in our country and just around the planet. But more importantly, the question that we were stuck with was, why isn't anybody asking why was he using a fake $20 bill? Mm-hmm. And that became the inflection point where myself and other Black business members that were part of the Portland Metro Chamber decided to move into a bigger conversation around economic injustices in our country, and ultimately turned into a conversation around this metaphor that we refer to as the invisible knee.
Mm. Tell me what that is.
And the invisible knee is essentially a metaphor that highlights the economic barriers that Black people face in our country. I believe a lot of people are very good stewards and advocates for the social challenges or even environmental justice challenges that impact Black people and other people of color, but we don't have a lot of strong voices around economic justice, mm-hmm. and that was something that we wanted to bring to light.
Thanks for explaining that
mm-hmm.
well. Nate, the BBAO has a list of accomplishments over the last half dozen or so years. Name one that's really made a difference, you think?
Yeah, it was hard. I struggled with naming one, but I'll give you two if I can.
You can do that.
Well, one is bringing visibility to the invisible. So businesses need to be seen and heard and touched in our community, and we have not found a robust system statewide that allows us to know where we find Black businesses throughout the state. So what we customized was a CRM to where we could talk to those businesses as we find them, network, and have a communication channel where we could check in on resources, contract opportunities, technical assistance they might need and face, whether they're in Pendleton or in Portland, Oregon. Mm-hmm. And then what we've actually accomplished of late after building that CRM system is really being able to populate conversations and having forums like the Black Business Breakfast Forum we held in March, where we brought policymakers, decision makers at agencies, private sector, including banks, to really have a real robust conversation with Black businesses on what we need to be successful so that we can have parity in the economic development system.
How many Black-owned businesses are there in Oregon?
That is a great question. We are still finding more and more as we sit here today, but we've located upwards of 500 already to date. Yeah. We know that there are far more out there than that, but we are going to be hopefully working with our Secretary of State soon to make sure that we can find all businesses renewing or starting a business for the first time wherever they are in the state of Oregon.
As you said, part of the mission. And now your organization's released a strategic roadmap really leading up to the 2027 Oregon legislative session and beyond. Before you break it down for us, what does this accomplish from kind of the high look at the 30,000 feet down? Nate?
Yeah, I mean, I think what we're really trying to do is, at this point in time, is figure out how we move coordination and implementation together with a lot of the private sector and public sector, including policymakers, to really say that we need an economic development strategy. We know the state is in a recession as we speak, and as we recover from that recession, we want to make sure that black business concerns are not just at the table, but a part of making policy changes that support their business lines, which is not just synonymous to black businesses, but really all small businesses that are the backbone for Oregon and across our nation. And so we just want to make sure that we look at the disparate impacts that they face, from procurement to the access to capital to just being seen as a business that has a service to provide to both our public and private sectors. So we want to really bring those voices, figure out a coordinated plan so that we can position ourselves for the legislative session in 2027 to really make some large changes and get some resources to support our business concerns.
Great. Glenda, you want to add to that at all?
I think one of the most important elements as it pertains to this upcoming session and opportunity around our roadmap is our community has never put together a coordinated economic development agenda.
Sure.
And it's not the fact that it's not possible. The greater opportunity is, I believe, that what we've invested a lot of sweat equity in over the past several years is building the coalition. And it's not solely just within our own communities, but it's also with more conventional organizations like the Portland Metro Chamber, like Oregon Business and Industry, like Oregon Business Council, and a lot of other organizations who advocate for economic development and business matters. We're trying to make sure that there is a voice that is very honest and unapologetic about the needs within the black community.
Yep. Nate, for someone who owns or maybe wants to start a business, what difference does your work make to them right now?
Yeah, we see ourselves as going far beyond networking. We are an association, so we definitely want to make sure that we are building relationships within that network. But I think the big thing is, as he's alluding to, Portland Metro Chambers being a key partner. They work with a lot of developers, builders, a lot of policymakers, and what we want to do is partner with them, support our system and our needs within the community, and really make sure that as these businesses are recovering, that they can really take advantage of the economic opportunities coming. There's a lot of projects out here. You know, we've had disparity studies that we've seen for decades over decades that have always shown that the underrepresented communities definitely are not seeing economic parity. And so we want to really position those businesses that see big projects coming, big and small, and make sure that they're ready to go in position to take advantage of those.
Right. And that's putting on your hat also of the Contract Association as
Absolutely.
well, which you were telling me is going strong here in Oregon.
Very much so. And it, you know, construction is one of those industries that help feeds other industries too. Sure. So when you vertically integrate business and you have good opportunities for big contracts, you can set aside smaller contracts for your catering businesses, for your supply businesses that might also support the construction industry.
Sure. So with this roadmap and looking to the legislature and making changes, looking to make things happen there, what are some specific things that you'll advocate for to hopefully reach this worthy and long overdue goal of parity for black people in business, in the business world here in the state? Alando?
Well, I think one of the most important elements is the fact that our state spends, just based on the most recent adopted budget, $70 billion a year. And the data will always tell the story. Historically, based on disparity studies and other researches, it's been a constant theme that, you know, the dollars aren't trickling down into the hands of those who need them most. And so what we're trying to do is bring that to light and ensure that we're in a position to be able to not only make sure that we're advocating for the appropriate lanes for us to dive into legislatively to support our black business community, but more importantly, how do we hold folks accountable to that? And so the roadmap is really indicative of the coalition building that we did in the process to go out into the community and get voices and opinions kind of instituted into that work. And hopefully as a result of that, you know, we will hopefully see some sort of legislative concepts that are coming to the table that are not just for the overall greater good of Oregon, but also have some explicit direction and goals tied into it related to black businesses.
Okay. Got a couple minutes left, and Nate, I want to ask you, you know, you track these key data points in regards to black businesses in Oregon. Is there one trend that concerns you especially right now?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think a lot of folks face this in our community, but incomes. When you look at a household, a black household, and their income levels for a household, you see them hovering around 55,000, which we know in Portland and across the state and nation, it's very hard to live off of 55,000 a year. So what we want to see is with rising costs of affordability of housing, jobs need to pace with that affordability challenge. And right now we see there being an outpace of growing costs for housing and not really a growing market for incomes. So we know that if we can really incrementally over time change that trajectory to see black households go from 55,000 to being kind of considered the same as our white counterparts at 85,000 per home, then incrementally over time we'll see a little bit more parity with folks having a little bit more ease in their pocketbooks.
That would be good for sure. Is there something of progress that you see briefly?
Yeah, I would say the progress we see is black folks are really good at being entrepreneurs. They need to be supported when they want to be entrepreneurs and hire from their communities and get the needed technical assistance. And I can't say that enough because we have not fully funded technical assistance across our state and private sectors well enough.
Well, Nate McCoy, Orlando Simpson, thank you so much. I know it's hard to move the needle with systemic change, but thank you for doing that.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Appreciate you too, Tim.
And we're going to take a short break. And when we come back, a candid conversation about addiction, recovery, and prevention in Oregon with leaders from 4D Recovery. Stay with us. Welcome back to Straight Talk. Addiction touches nearly every family in Oregon, and for young people caught in it, finding a way out can feel impossible. That's where 4D Recovery comes in. The peer-led organization serves youth and young adults 14 to 35, offering everything from same-day assessments and treatment to housing and community spaces. It was built around the idea that the best guides through that struggle are the people who've been there themselves. And joining us today, co-founder and executive director of 4D Recovery, Tony Vezina. He's helped launch several statewide recovery initiatives, including Peer Recovery Solutions and the Oregon Recovery High School Initiative. He's also shaped policy, serving as chair of Oregon's Alcohol and Drug Policy Commission. And Pam Pierce, board member for 4D Recovery and longtime prevention advocate. She serves on multiple state and local boards focused on mental health and addiction, including the Alcohol and Drug Policy Commission's Prevention Committee. She's also the co-founder of Oregon's first recovery high school, Harmony Academy. Tony and Pam, thank you guys so much for being here on Straight Talk. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, looking forward to the conversation. And of course, as we said, this is a subject that touches so many of our lives, including yours. If you don't mind starting with a bit of your journey through addiction and recovery, and Tony, we'll start with you.
Yeah, it's a family disease oftentimes. It was for me. I got into drugs and alcohol early, became addicted early, was sort of a victim of the opioid crisis, got into that young, lost my mom to that, became homeless on the streets of Portland, in and out of jail, and eventually got sober at 27, found recovery, found people in recovery, breathed life into me, and then I got started on trying to help the community, and I've been doing that for the last 14 years.
Fantastic. And Pam, for you?
Similar story. Raised in Lake Oswego. I am the child of someone who had an alcohol use disorder. I started drinking and using drugs when I was 14 years old. I like to share that when I graduated from high school, I won biggest partier and best dressed, and those honors almost killed me.
Yeah.
I got sober at 26 years old and have been in recovery for 30 years.
Wow. Well, you're both living testaments to the success of recovery if you do it. Tony, your recovery included connecting early on with others, kind of trying to forge the same path. That led to founding 4D Recovery. Talk about that peer element and working with others in the same boat.
Yeah, well, oftentimes the best weapon against addiction, is a person in recovery who's been through it, knows how to motivate people, can inspire them. Recovery is generated through hope. It starts with hope. A person's often hopeless in their situation, so we provide hope to people, and then that hope turns into meaning and purpose. And oftentimes people who get in recovery, they are the best people that you will ever meet, and they're just dedicated to helping others.
And 4D Recovery is really based on that.
Yeah, so we started off as a peer-run organization, hiring people in recovery to go out, coach other people into recovery, And then we just continue to see a need in the community and step up and fill it. And, since our inception, volunteers, I was a volunteer director at first, volunteer mentors. We've grown into a large agency, and we have locations from Vancouver, Washington, all the way down to Medford, Oregon. But the thing that we're really focused on right now is adolescents and families. Oregon ranks about 50th compared to other states in providing access to addiction mental health services for adolescents. And so we've been working very hard over the last couple of years to bring more of those services to life.
Yeah, about 50th is not great, and we're going to talk more about that in a bit. But first, we need to include some bad news for 4D. Last weekend, your brand new, almost completed facility burned. Investigators looking at it as likely arson, but not targeting 4D. How are you doing with that? This is a big loss for what you're trying to do.
Yeah, well, of course, it's like you spend 2 years fundraising, hiring staff, preparing to open up a one-of-a-kind facility in America. And this campus, located in Northeast Portland, will provide, when it's revitalized, detox, residential, full-service outpatient with prescribing, family therapy, and then the bedrock of our organization has always been the peer recovery aspect. And so we're going to have a drop-in space for adolescents who are in recovery so they can meet, socialize, and run their own recovery space and take responsibility for their recovery. And it would have been the only type of facility that I'm aware of in America.
Wow. And I know you're working through all the insurance and everything else. It's about a $5 million project, but you can also help. Go to 4D Recovery and just look them up online, and I know that you can use all the help always to continue the work.
Absolutely. The community supported us. We raised money. We got money from the legislature, from local counties, individual donations. We are still fundraising for this project. Any way anyone wants to help, you can go to our website, or you can contact me directly at tony.vesna@4drecovery.org.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Pam Pierce, you're on the board of 4D Recovery, but you've also got many other missions going and have been an advocate for a long time now, and particularly in the area of youth and prevention. Can you talk about why that is so important?
Sure. I've been in recovery again for 30 years, and knew intuitively as a young person that what I had looked an awful lot like what my father had. And so over the years, I've tried to educate myself on what is this. And I always say, if it's predictable, it's preventable. And substance use disorders take a very, specific path. And so therefore, it's predictable. And so I've tried to, again, educate myself so that my children could know a different way. My husband is also the child of someone who suffered with an alcohol use disorder. And so I have spent years trying to understand it so that I can help and support my children to prevent it. And one of the things I like to share, I have a organization in West Linn, Oregon, and I have a big youth group that learns about prevention. And one of the things I always share is, listen, substances by themselves are not an enemy, but not having the information to make informed decisions is. And there's enough science to understand the disease, and it's about delaying use. It is a brain disorder, and the brain needs time to grow. And so we need to create these environments and make sure that young people, their families, doctors, and all the various sectors in a community, that they understand the science so that we can support young people, so that they can delay use. And then should they choose to use, substances, any substance, alcohol, name it.
Right.
That they get to, but that they understand and they're informed.
They're informed and have the information to
Yes.
start, which is so key. Absolutely. Yep. I'll give you both a chance to answer this, but I'll start with you, Pam. How is Oregon doing in regards to addiction recovery, prevention, and all of it?
Well, Tony and I both were part of opening the first recovery high school in Oregon, and that's a win. And Oregon now has 3 recovery high schools. In 2025, Tony and I were also part of putting together legislation with Representative Walters, who was my district, that defined primary prevention and will look at and help create an infrastructure to help prevent substance use in young people. And so right now, Oregon is on the right path, but it took a lot of time and effort.
Yeah.
And a lot of different people jumping in, but we're trying to move that dial.
Yep. And Tony, we've got a long way to climb.
Yeah, so I would say, you know, we are on the right path when it comes to adults. You know, if you take a look at all the gubernatorial candidates right now, I've been following the race. All of them have touched on addiction and homelessness as a key issue.
Yes.
Right, and local policymakers understand the importance of addiction services. So it's no longer the debate of whether a person deserves treatment or whether they can recover. The debate's been focused on what's the best way to get them recovered. And so I'm really appreciative of that. When it comes to adolescents, we have dropped the ball.
Yep.
You know, that's why we were ranked 50th. There has not been much effort over the last 7 years to put funding and resources into adolescent services. Some money has trickled out, but most of the money went to the adult system.
Yes.
And that's because we're trying to solve the problem at the end instead of prevent it.
Prevention.
And then when
right.
I'll say when
That's
it
right.
comes to homelessness, I think we've missed the mark a little bit. We've determined that individuals who are homeless simply need a place to stay. And that is going to be the solution. And that is partly true. But individuals who are homeless also, a high percentage of them have addiction and mental health issues, and they need treatment and support to get them into a position. Like myself, I was homeless. I needed some treatment and support to get me into a position to be self-sufficient. And I don't think our homelessness response has taken behavioral health into consideration enough to address the problem fully.
Right. Well, let's talk a little bit about an issue that affects a lot of people that are on the streets is the decriminalization issue. Now it's been recriminalized, small amounts of hard drugs for people by the Oregon legislature previously. And deflection is where folks will go if they're not going to jail. How's it working? It feels like the deflection program has not served as many people as we would like. Tony?
Sure. Yeah, I think first you have to set real expectations about what deflection is and isn't going to accomplish. Deflection is a single intervention intended to move people towards treatment. In that sense, and it's only been going for a year. You have to give it time to come to fruition, but it's not going to solve every problem, right? We need other interventions in other spaces. We should be looking at how do we intervene in schools? Why don't we have more drug and alcohol counselors in our education system? Why aren't more of our educators educated on how to identify symptoms? Why aren't we educating parents on how to do their own interventions? You know, law enforcement plays a role in it, and I love the program, but it shouldn't be looked at as the silver bullet to solve the entire problem.
We're down to about our last 90 seconds. A quick thought about that as well.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, I ended my drinking and using career with a DUI. And that is not the system that should have caught me. There were systems, my family, schools, I mean, it goes, healthcare, it goes down the line. And I agree with Tony, it's like it needs to come much sooner.
Yep.
And families need to be educated, the healthcare system needs to be educated, and they need to be able to talk to each other.
Yeah. It seems like the biggest message here is prevention and early.
Prevention.
For sure.
Yep.
So lightning round. Now I'm going to ask you, what for someone who's past the point of prevention, they're struggling with addiction. How about them? Who should they call? What should they do? Pam?
I always say start with your doctor.
Yeah.
I mean, they should be the first line of educating you, showing you how to go navigate the system. I mean, I feel like Tony's on the news all the time. So a recovery center, you know, just walking in, having the courage to say, I need help.
Yep. And Tony, if you're a young person, you're struggling with peer pressure, and our society has all these substances available, and they're struggling, what's their first move?
You know, I think people who are struggling, the first thing they need to recognize is that it's not the end, right? It's the beginning.
It's the beginning.
And so it is okay to have a substance use disorder. It can be difficult. It's a disease. It can be treated. And your life is just beginning. And you have no idea the miracles that are waiting for you once you get, over that hump.
Yep.
I agree.
That is powerful, for sure. And on that note, we're going to leave it there.
Thank you.
Pam and Tony, thank you guys so much for coming in and talking with us, and more information available for 4D and for folks. So thanks again.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thanks
you.
for having us.
Yep. And thank you for joining us. A reminder, you can stream Straight Talk on your own schedule. Download the free TV app, KGW Plus, available now on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV. We will see you back here next week on Straight Talk.